If Apple had to shut their system down while I did an upgrade, customers are not going to be happy that they can't watch their movies or listen to iTunes or buy a computer. The same with Amazon. Their site does not shut down unless there's some catastrophe. You can always order and get your thing in 2 to 4 hours or a day. But that's the way technology should be. We're talking about people's money. So financial services, we shouldn't have to shut down. So our goal was to be able to migrate a single account in real time. That's what we built with CoreSwitch. It's a platform that allows us to migrate an account from one system to the other and not impact the customer, nor the rest of the team members in the bank for that matter.
Welcome to FinTech Confidential, bringing you the people, tech, and companies that change how you pay and get paid. Welcome to Accrued, the FinTech Confidential series presented by LoanPro. In this series, we're deconstructing the complexity of lending and exploring the compliance, optimization, modernization, and personalization through insightful conversations with the industry's best. I'm Ted Huff, and with my co-host, Colton Pond, we're guiding you through the intricate lending world. Whether you're deep into LendTech or just intrigued by how technology is reshaping lending, you're in the right place. Colton, welcome back.
Thanks, Ted. It's good to see you. I've got a new background here today, but same background for you as always, but it's good to see you, man.
Today, we spotlight Mascoma Bank, and they're a standout in the banking sector with its mutual ownership model that places community and environmental sustainability at the forefront of its mission. This approach diverges sharply from traditional banking, emphasizing the importance of reinvesting profits for community betterment. Mascoma Bank's dedication to modernization and its B-Corp certification highlight its commitment to using technology as a force for good, enhancing customer experiences and fostering meaningful community engagement. We're joined by Rafael Reznek, who leads the charge on technological innovation, and Sam Paz, the Chief Innovation and Brand Officer, whose extensive career at Mascoma has been pivotal in driving innovation and brand advocacy. Together, they represent the innovative spirit of Mascoma Bank, showcasing how it's redefining the essence of community banking in today's digital era. Let's explore their insights and the impact of Mascoma Bank's unique approach. And Colton, why don't you go ahead and share your personal experience with this team?
I know these two really well, actually. I've been most looking forward to this episode because of this, and love and appreciate both of them for different reasons. Raphael, one of the smartest people I've ever met, especially in banking, thinking about how to push banking forward. Actually grew up in Alaska, so shout out to all our folks up in Alaska watching. And then Sam, one of the nicest and most brilliant people that I've ever met. Have a huge respect for Sam because she's been at Mascoma, Sam, 35 years?
32.
32 years, which is incredible.
Don't age me.
I'm sorry. Fun fact is Sam's probably the biggest Disney fan you've ever met in your life. If you get to know her, sometimes she'll tell you about all her trips to Disney World and running races there and all of this.
Oh, I've had the opportunity to go to the Food and Wine Festival race. We did a couple others, and we did a handful of the virtual races during COVID. So we've got a string of medals across the wall. And my all-time favorite one is when they did Yzma and Kronk for Food and Wine Festival, and that is by far my beloved. That's the favorite shirt that I have from that race. And we had such a great time. So I'm glad that I'm in good company with you on that one, Sam.
You are.
Awesome. And Ted, next race, we'll meet and do it together.
Oh.
Then you have Raphael and his family on the other side of the country, up in Alaska, wondering what to do with all the colds. So.
Well, Colton, I appreciate you giving this personal introduction, but I want to dive into Mascoma Bank as it truly stands as the beacon in the world of community banking. And they've been illuminating the path where technology and human values converge. In today's episode of Accrued, we're cracking open the books on how Mascoma Bank uses its unique position to redefine what it means to be a bank in the LendTech era. We're set to uncover their commitment to community combined with a forward-thinking approach to technology. This sets them apart in a crowded field From their B-Corp certification to their innovative strategies in lending, Mascoma Bank is crafting a new narrative in banking. Colton, let's get started and learn what drives Mascoma Bank's success in banking and lendtech.
Let's do it. So, Raphael, Sam, we want to start off on a little bit more on your journey into banking. You both have very unique, different journeys to banking for sure. And what I love about Mascoma is you two as the dynamic duo combine it together as a superpower, which is awesome. So, Raphael, give us some insights on your journey into banking and also how you apply insights from outside of banking on your day-to-day life to challenge assumptions that are in banking today.
My experience as a business owner, an entrepreneur, and in the tech industry certainly is applicable to banking. Mascoma is my first role inside a bank, working for a bank. Prior to that, it's always been in the tech industry where solutioning at a rapid pace was definitely top of the list, and team building. And I think that has really helped at Mascoma, team building and asking why. Why are we doing something repeatedly? And that is definitely achieved good results.
I love it. If we go back to our first episode on that note, Raphael, we had Rhett, the co-founder, CEO of LoanPro on, and he often says, building finance the way it ought to be. I feel like you are like the pinnacle of doing so and challenging and say, hey, why is this? And if the answer is, oh, it's just because it's the way that we've always done it, probably not a good answer. Probably time to rethink and how to drive efficiency. Sam, on your end, I won't date you, 32 years. All 32 years of the bank, which is awesome. And I respect because like the tremendous amount of loyalty you have, but all in different roles. What's really cool about that is you see it from a different lens on. I've sat in all of these seats. So how do you take that from all these different seats within banking and drive innovation, as your title says, innovation forward for the bank?
That has been probably the best part of my career, is the fact that I have had a variety of seats throughout the bank. I've been in lending, I've been in operations, I've worked on the retail side, been in marketing for quite a while. And it's given me a really good lens on how the bank works and how we can best impact our customers. And from that lens, it also gave me a good view into the frustrations that I have had as a banker because of limitations that we may have with systems or whatever it may be. So I think my journey and Raphael's are very different, but they have come together at a really good time. And you said it before, it's kind of our superpower is I can think of this, I can look at what we're doing and how we should be innovative as a banker. And he can look at it from a technology side, and we can come together and really get a good understanding of a direction that we need to go in.
Sam, you just hit on something that, a lot of organizations don't really have, is that perspective from an inside banker that is open to looking from an outside perspective from a technologist. How do you guys reap the most benefits out of that relationship?
It can go both ways. So there's a lot of bankers that don't want to look from the outside and are very set in their ways. There's a lot of technologists that don't necessarily want to look at how banks do their business and think about how to get them more innovative. I've been fortunate that I've been in a company that has been open to how we should be looking from the outside in. How is there a different perspective? And Raphael has really brought that to the table. And I give Raphael credit. I think the way that we can take the most advantage of it is that he is very good at listening to what it is we're trying to achieve rather than just saying you're doing it wrong and here's what you should do. He's really focused on what is it that you're trying to achieve from a banking standpoint? And then let's think about technology and tie it together.
A couple episodes ago, we had John Maxfield on and we're talking about the importance of looking at the banking history and not trying to jump too far into the fintech and saying everything's broken. Everything's broken. We can fix it with technology. Raphael, how are you approaching coming in to a banking organization from a technology perspective? What insights could you give us on what you've seen and how you've been able to move forward successfully?
I think iterating has been very beneficial for Mascoma Bank. Being able to break the issue that we have down into components and not trying to solve all of them at once, trying to iterate towards our destination a piece at a time so that we can measure and determine if that was the right thing to do and then adjust. The partnership I have with Sam is really super beneficial because Sam has, 32 years of banking experience and I had none. So she can basically say, if I come up with an idea or a solution, she can say, that's interesting, or no, that's not really a good idea. We can't do it that way. So we have that ability to problem solve with a lot of banking subject matter expertise and the ability to iterate, which we've, built a team that can do that, which is also really important.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into how you guys have gotten to that point to be able to do the iteration with the team and the things that you guys have built.
One of my favorite parts on that note is you all transforming, Raphael, Sam, $2.5-3 billion bank. Yeah.
It's just under 3. Yeah.
Just under $3 billion bank in New Hampshire in a meaningful way. But before we jump into some of those insights, one of the things that Ted brought up is the mission and vision of Mascoma. And Sam, I know you're super passionate about this and you do a lot of work and you did a lot of work in helping Mascoma become a B-Corp and all of the things you do around community. Help us understand more insights into why you made that decision, the impact that it's had for Mascoma Bank. If you'd recommend, I know we've been in a lot of settings where you've recommended to other financial institutions, hey, you should look at B-Corp certification. Help us understand more about it.
This bank has been in existence since 1899, and it's a mutual bank. And being a mutual bank, we don't have stockholders. So it really allows us to really focus on what's best for our customers and our communities over the long term. Having that type of structure has really allowed the culture of this bank to really flourish on what is it we're doing? How are we making the best impact we can? Several years ago, one of the things that we looked at was, should we become a certified B Corporation? And what a certified B Corporation allowed us to do, for some aspects, taking advantage of all the positive things that we were already doing in our communities, but it brought a much stronger focus to us on, let's not just do a lot of really nice things or good things. What it does is it holds us accountable. So every 3 years we have to recertify, and there's a pretty robust examination process you go through. And I think that's probably one of the best reasons for becoming a certified B Corporation, because it really allows you to really think about how you're making an impact, but then you have to prove it. You can't just say a lot of nice things. You actually have to do it. And being a mutual bank and being really focused on how do we make an impact.
Honestly, I hadn't heard of a B Corp until Colton shared it with me. I'm familiar with ESG and all that other fun stuff, but for some reason, B Corp just didn't pop into my head. So I went to B Lab and I started looking, and I probably didn't get all of them. I could only find 10 banks globally that have gone through that process. That puts you guys in a very unique position, in a very unique category.
There are other financial institutions, but as a traditional bank, I think it's 12 now. There's not a lot. Okay. And it is something that I think a lot of banks would really connect to, and it's a matter of them taking the time. There's not a lot of traditional banks. Our goal is to get more on board. And I know in New England, we're in northern New England, there have been others that have followed suit. There's a couple in Maine, there's a couple in Vermont. So it's been good to see that charge spread a little bit throughout our industry.
It's a very noble charge, and I congratulate you on making that happen, because I know it's not easy. So I want to dive into what you're building at Mascoma Bank and how you began, I should say, this journey to completely modernize the bank. And if you would just kind of discuss with us how it started, what are the things that you're doing to really move it forward and keep in alignment with that B Corp.
Sam asked a question. That's really where it started. And the question was a very innocuous question. Can we do this thing for our customers with our debit cards? And I was like, I don't know. It sounds intriguing. Let me start looking at it. And I started pulling on a thread. I didn't realize that thread was attached to, Yes.
Very long.
Still pulling on it. So years later, we started pulling on this thread, and it really led to this realization that we had a monolithic system, that you can't change a small component to it. You can bolt things onto it, sort of like Frankenstein. But from a customer experience standpoint, there are stops and starts, and there's a lot of friction. It's not a good customer experience. It's not a good team member experience. And it's not great for the bank's bottom line either, to be fair. So that's really where we started. What we landed on is we wanted to be able to have that choice regardless of the tech. We wanted to be able to make a decision that could positively impact our customers, our team members, and our communities. And that's really what Sam's question started 6.5 years ago.
You grab onto that string and you're like, I know I shouldn't pull this very hard, but once I start pulling this string, there's no stopping.
Correct. Yeah.
And so what was the thing that, what was that moment when the organization said, we want to pull the string? How did you evaluate whether you were going to buy it, build it, or partner with somebody?
We have finite resources here at Mascoma, so we can't build everything. And what we landed on is we would only build what doesn't exist, that we cannot buy. And of course, we didn't know what we could or could not buy in the beginning. We had to figure all of that out. And at the end of the day, what we figured out is that we couldn't buy a system that allowed us to iteratively change our customer and team member experience over our own determined amount of time. Any change that occurs is a boil the ocean scenario. You leave on a Friday with one system and you come in on a Monday with a completely different system that's been migrated over the weekend after 18 months of really hard work, and hope that it goes well. And that is
cross the fingers, right?
You cross the fingers. And we've seen over the years some pretty bad outcomes. So the risk is high, and we didn't want to take that risk. And there's very little to learn when you boil the ocean. So you come in on a Monday and it's really a crisis, because you're putting out fires, and you're not actually, what you're learning is that you shouldn't have done that. So we really looked at platforms that would put the decision-making capability back into our hands. And that's how we landed on a few of the platforms we did. And we also found out that some of the things we wanted to do were not available. So that's what we decided to build. This is a platform that would allow us to iterate a migration and give us access to data in real time. So in flight, not right after, not near real time, but actually as it's occurring. So that's the platform that we built.
So Raphael, give the audience and listeners some insight into the magnitude of change that y'all have gone through at Mascoma and plan to go through. Are there any vendors in your tech stack when you came on that have not been replaced or likely will not be evaluated in the future, right?
From a magnitude standpoint, we are replacing everything from the ground up, including the core, our teller platform, our digital banking platform, all of our AML, BSA platforms. We're replacing everything, and not all at once. We're able to do it a component at a time. So from a magnitude standpoint, it is tremendous. It's taken us 6 years from the idea to actual implementation. And we are live with a portion of the system now.
One of the biggest questions as I interact with bank and credit union leaders is say, I'm in a new role. I want to make a difference. I want to make a change. However, I've got other peers of mine who are stuck in their ways, or maybe I've got a board who's stuck in their ways, or I've got a team or a department who doesn't want to change and wants to be more risk averse. How did you get the broader team aligned with this modernization vision? And then how do you get the board members, the rest of the executive team? What did that alignment process look like?
we're a mutual bank, traditional bank, and we had the same challenges as a lot of other banks. And it's a lot of traditional thinking and a way of doing business. The thing that I think really helped us as a company from the board on down to understand that we needed to do something different was really what we're experiencing in our day-to-day lives with technology. And some of this relates back to being a certified B corporation. We interact very differently and our expectations are very different today than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And as a bank, if we truly want to make an impact on our customers and our communities, where can we make the biggest impact? It's on their financial well-being and their financial health. The systems and the platforms that we had been using do not allow us to truly understand our customers, do not allow us to pull data together. They don't allow us to be proactive and support them in the moment when they have a problem. And we need to change that because as a consumer, we're starting to get used to, that's how we interact with all businesses. If you think of Amazon.
Like I get Amazon within 2 hours at my house, right?
Exactly. So. And they're also, Amazon's also telling you, hey, by the way, your order, do you want to reorder that? It's time to reorder it. It might be good time. You might be out of coffee right now.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting accustomed to. And we should be
it's
doing
dog food over here.
Exactly. And we should be doing the exact same thing with financial services. And we are so far away from that. The financial the services industry, if you think about how did we get our folks on board and the board of directors and our senior team, it's really with that true understanding of we are going to be left behind here very quickly if we don't start doing business in a different way. And we've got to be so much more proactive than we've ever been able to before. And I think being a certified B corporation helped to drive that because we truly want to make an impact. And how can we best do it? We're a bank. It's all about finances.
I'm seeing more often, especially when you start to get down to the community bank level, whereas you don't get that feeling when you're working with one of the top 5, right? One of the top 5, they're like, yeah, it is what it is. We'll get to it eventually. And I think that's really where the community banks, and especially banks like yourself that are really going into how do I be proactive? How do I manage this? How do I give that level of customer service that is beyond is why we're seeing such a shift away from the big banks, especially for your small businesses and your individual consumers.
Especially when you can marry that, as you all at Mascoma have, with best-in-class technology. You can marry the community element with best-in-class technology. You got a superpower there. There's something really that community banks can leverage and take advantage of.
So in our last episode, we had Brent Beardall on, the CEO and president of WaFd. And we spent a lot of time talking about how to decide where the focus goes, how to do prioritization. We tried to touch on how to be efficient about it. But as you know, the priorities change, importance levels change, help us all understand really what you've done as far as the team and unique structure and how you're influencing that prioritization of the technology within the bank's 4 walls. Here's a quick message from the Accrued Series sponsor. As default rates continue to rise and margins compress in lending, financial organizations are searching for solutions to combine that operational efficiency with innovation. Look no further, as LoanPro allows lenders to enhance their origination, servicing, collections, and payments using the foundation of a modern lending core. Check out loanpro.io to learn more about how over 600 financial organizations have modernized their tech stack with LoanPro.
Wow, that is really hitting the nail on the head right there. That's a tough one, and it changes daily, right? Because of the things you've mentioned, we have outside influences that are driving some of those decisions, internal influences, contracts, changes in technology, changes in customer preference. One of the first things we did is we worked on our team, refactoring the team, bringing in some new team members, taking people from different positions in the bank with a lot of subject matter expertise, and creating a team that could use a situational awareness and the ability to dig into the information so that they could make an informed decision, and then being able to pivot when they needed to. How we're trying to prioritize is taking all of the information we have and trying to understand, how does it impact us if we do X or Y or Z in a time box effort? In the next 2 weeks, we want to do these things, and do these things meet the criteria that we've laid out? So that's one of the ways we try and prioritize, but it is a very difficult task, and there is no
Never
perfect thing.
Yeah, I love it.
It's never easy.
It's never easy, and it's difficult. And what I love about what you said, Raphael, is it changes on a daily basis. And I think that feedback loop, that iterative innovation, and also the ability that Mascoma has been able to do. And you've developed technology called Core Switch, but it really unlocks the handcuffs, provides a path to freedom, and allows a real sustainable path to make a core conversion. Help us understand that thought process, that development process, how you went through that journey and how it's worked for Mascoma Bank.
Coming into the banking industry from a tech background, looking at how systems are implemented in the age of the technology that we were dealing with, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense that your migration, took 18 months to plan out and test and cleanse the data, et cetera. And then you just did it over a weekend and you hoped. I mean, obviously you've done a lot of work, so it's a little more than hope, but not a good strategy, right? So it didn't
There's
make
a bit
sense.
of prayer in there too.
Yeah, exactly. But there's, and it also impacted your customers. So for a period of time, you have to shut the system down. If Apple had to shut their system down while I did an upgrade, customers are not going to be happy that they can't watch their movies or listen to iTunes or, buy a computer. The same with Amazon. Amazon their site does not shut down unless there's some catastrophe, but, you can always order and get your thing in 2 to 4 hours or a day. But that's the way technology should be. That's the way, we're talking about people's money. So financial services, we shouldn't have to shut down. So our goal was to be able to migrate a single account in real time. That was our goal. That if we can build the technology to migrate an account from system A to system B while the customer's in their digital banking platform and they're not impacted at all, and the system continues to operate and it migrates successfully, then we will. So that's what we built with Core Switch. It's a platform that allows us to migrate an account from one system to the other and not impact the customer, nor the rest of the team members in the bank for that matter. So we built out, as part of Core Switch, a real-time repository for that data so that we have control over where that data goes and we can route it appropriately to the proper core or transaction engine. We can have multiple cores running in parallel, and all of the rest of the systems in our tech stack believe that they're dealing with one core. We've essentially disintermediated or abstracted a portion of the tech stack away from the cores so that we can use the cores for what they're good for and use best in breed technology in other areas in the institution.
Sam, all I can think of is, how is this decision to create Core Switch and to be able to do these changes so fast and quickly and do this in an iterative process, how is that impacting your customers, the bank customers as they're working through this? What does that do for their perception of the bank?
Overall, I don't think it changes their perception of the bank at all, except that we are providing them with better information at their fingertips when they need it. And we can help, grow and enhance our relationship with them. I think from a customer perspective, that's what they're going to see. It doesn't matter to our customers, we've got this cool Core Switch thing and we're thinking technology. Customers don't care anything about that. They just want to make sure that their relationship with their bank is providing them with what they need. So if you look at it from a customer standpoint, that's what they're going to see without even really understanding that it's happening to them. some aspect, they do have to go through some change. As with any migration, there's going to be some change for the customer experience. That's always difficult for customers. Some customers will embrace it, some don't. So there's those little pain points along the way. But throughout the entire journey, the fact that we can better serve their needs in a way that they don't even understand that's even happening behind the scenes is going to be where the difference is.
One of my big favorite aspects about Mascoma and what you all are doing is focus on the customer. Raphael and Sam, as you evaluated what Mascoma does on the lending side today, and a lot of the modernization y'all focused on or have and will focus on has been improving aspects there. Help us understand the biggest pain points that you feel like are experienced today with lending and can be potentially solvable and addressed by technology, especially for community banks of Mascoma's size.
Colton, the complexity, lending itself is complex, but the platforms that we have make it even more complex. So I think the biggest pain point is just how super complex it is. And we just, as a banker, we just can't, we know it runs, and that's the best we can get with it.
And the rigidity of the platforms, right? They're not mutable. You can't really change them or do plug and play. And that was really important for us. The ability to have a platform that gave us choice and allowed us to implement iteratively. Our legacy loan platform handled all of our loans and loan servicing in its fashion, in the fashion that vendor chose. And, a platform like LoanPro gives that choice back to us as an institution. So we can implement it how we best see it, serving the customer, giving us the choice back that we didn't have before, the ability to make a decision, whether to do something or not to do it.
And once again, to your earlier point, you made the change because we want the power ourselves. We want to take control ourselves to be able to tailor and customize and personalize things for your audience.
Mm-hmm. If you were able to communicate with your customer as a transaction is occurring at a point of sale where they're buying something of, relative significance, and you're able to offer them some, a service, like let's say they have in their bill payment system, they're paying a bill in 2 days and they're about to spend enough money so that it won't happen. That bill pay won't happen because they won't have enough money. You can help them. You can say, here are 3 ways that you can do this and still make that bill payment in 2 days. We are able to communicate in flight with the customer as the transaction's occurring. There are FIs and providers that are able to communicate with the customer from a fraud standpoint when you're doing a transaction, but they don't have all that data. They don't have all of the data around around the customer's cash flow, around when they are paying their bills, and we do. So we can help them in a way that other institutions and issuers cannot help them.
A lot of financial institutions do not have the intestinal fortitude to move forward with building their own technology platform. But one of the things that I've heard you say is that this has opened up new opportunities for you to enhance all of your services. And of course, I want to talk more about lending, but what has it done to help you on the data analysis and customer service, customizations? And I really love the fact that you pointed out that you are giving positive notifications, just not the negative ones.
One of the things that we were able to build out notifications for our customers through the real-time transaction platform, through Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So now Sam's team is responsible and in control of the notifications going to our customers and is able to see them and analyze what's happening as it's occurring. That's just one small piece of what we're doing.
Sam, I mean, I'm listening to Raphael, and all I can think of is how this is improving not only the operational efficiency for all the people within the bank, but also the customer experience. How is this helping you maintain alignment with that B-Corp certification?
It goes back to supporting our customers in the best way possible and having the ability to, in the moment, reach out to our customers when there is activity happening where we can best support them with, hey, you're not going to be able to make that bill payment that you have scheduled 2 days from now. So here's some options for you. Or, hey, we can see that you're getting notified on a regular basis about a low balance amount. How can we support you through that? Here's some other options that we can help you with. So it's really about impacting our customer in the best way possible to help them with their financial wellness. And you tie that back to B Corps are really about what is the impact on you're making your customers and your communities. This is the best way we can do that.
So along those lines, when we talk about metrics and success, you all, Raphael, Samantha, have been 6 years on this journey and 6 years and still going. What are the metrics that you're evaluating that will determine success, and what will success actually look like?
Do we have some say in our technology destiny? Can we create new products? Can we differentiate ourselves through products and customer experience? Can we automate all of these manual and semi-manual processes in the bank? Can we implement first contact resolution because our systems are automated? Can we bring forward the capability so the person who's working with the customer can solve the problem 95% of the time instead of transferring? Are we able to reduce our costs and provide a better product? That's also one of the metrics, but more importantly, it's the customer experience and the team member experience. Are we providing a better service? Can we provide a better service?
What I love in there is themes around, we have themes on this series around optimization and personalization. Those are two key components of what you talked about, Raphael, on how do we optimize, how do we drive efficiency, how do we automate, but how do we differentiate? How do we personalize? Every community bank that's of your size is thinking about that. How do I differentiate relative to Chase, B of A, the big guys, but also other community banks that are coming in or super regional banks?
One more that Raphael didn't mention is really the ability to pull data from various systems into one holistic view of our customer to truly understand our customer.
That's a good point, Sam. That is definitely implicit in what we're doing is creating a single pane of glass where all of our phone conversations, we have a system that actually turns speech into text. So, and then attaches that transcription to the customer record, all of our emails, all of the customers' financial transactions, all in one place that the person, the team member that's working with the customer can see. They don't have to go to separate systems to see that information. And then from a reporting and analytics standpoint, Sam was going to have access to not just a piece of data or a type of data. She'll have access to all of the data about a customer.
So you're telling me that when I call in and if I have a mortgage and a personal loan, you'll be able to help me and actually see it in one system, which is awesome.
Yes.
Those sorts of things, those little things matter so much for the customer experience and driving customer delight.
Absolutely.
By bringing all that data together, that opens up a whole different can of worms when it comes to compliance and risk and data integrity. How are you guys balancing that while you're driving this fast innovation?
That's a really good point, Ted. There are, we have technical means of handling some of that. And that is that we, our systems, our new core system does not store any customer data at all. So you don't have financial transaction data and customer data in a single repository. They're actual multiple repositories. And this is all cloud-based. So we have multiple repositories that there are separate encryption keys for each of those repositories. They don't share an encryption key. And so getting access to one doesn't mean you have access to another. So from a technology standpoint, we're able to secure the data. It's encrypted at rest and in transit. From a PCI standpoint, we don't pass the primary account number around. We tokenize that. So from a PCI standpoint, we're not moving that data in any type of visible fashion. And then from a compliance and risk standpoint, we bring our risk and compliance team in early into our effort. And early for one person is not early for another person. So it's always a practice, right? When to bring someone or some department into an effort. And what we've learned over those 6 years is that you bring them in right at the beginning and you let them make the decision, whether that's the right time. And that's from a team member standpoint or a people standpoint that we have found that worked best, is let that department make that decision.
Sam, I'd love to hear your perspective on this.
Yeah, I want to add on to this because at the very beginning, Colton, you made a comment about kind of Raphael and my working together, and kind of that was the secret special sauce. It's really the entire team. And what Raphael is pointing out here is we decided this early on, and he's absolutely right. It's a practice. We're always trying to tweak it. But the teams that we have made up that are working on this project there's representation from everyone around the bank. It's not just technology, taking some information from the bankers, putting something together and delivering it. We have bankers embedded in these teams, and risk is embedded in the team, and compliance. So it's really that holistic view from technology and banking all the way through.
What's awesome about what you all have been able to do is infuse technologists in there, because that's the missing piece that a lot of folks don't have, is how do you marry compliance and innovation and technology? They don't need to be separated. And I love that insight, actually. They can be together and work hand in hand and be early in the conversations together around what we do to drive innovation forward.
So I'm going to ask Sam, pull it out of the closet, or Raphael out of your bottom drawer in your office there. I want you to pull out your crystal ball, because I'm going to ask you, what do you see as future trends in lending and banking technologies? It could be everything from the potential upside and risk of artificial intelligence, how you're going to be able to deliver a better human experience, and many, many other different things.
I need the crystal ball because I'm sitting here in the dark, and a little light would be nice. From my view, it's going to be completely around data and artificial intelligence and how that's going to drive how we work differently into the future. So I think that is going to be the game changer going forward, but building a very strong data governance model around that.
I have to ask the question, does that mean less people, or does that mean different roles for those people?
It means different roles for those people. We're going to need people. Without a doubt, the roles are going to change, and the expertise is going to change, and what we're delivering to our customers is going to change as well.
How do you see that transforming?
We have team members that work in the back office, and customers don't talk to them. And automation will certainly change their roles. But with artificial intelligence and data analytics, you're going to need people that are supervising. So there'll be supervisor roles and training roles, because you have to train those models. From a compliance standpoint, you have to make sure that any models or any modeling that you're doing is actually making a decision that is not biased. So we have to have people reviewing that. As always, we can prognosticate and try and guess and hypothesize, and we're going to be wrong a lot of the time. Things will appear out of nowhere. We just had no idea that this would be a rule. And here we are. I would build on what Sam is saying around data and AI and say that delivery of the service, consumption of the service by customers is going to completely change. I think that implicit interaction with financial services, loans or banking or whatever it is, will become the norm. So as you're driving your car down the road, you're talking to whomever it is, Alex, Lex, or Siri, and you're having a conversation about the loan you want to, or not even really about the loan. You're talking about I need X amount of dollars at this time.
For a certain thing. Yeah. So you're talking more the conversational commerce, I think is what it's been called in the past. Right?
Yes. And it's more around implicit interaction. So you're not explicitly going somewhere to apply for a loan, whether it be your phone or your computer or the branch. You're doing it as you're watching TV, and you're doing it. It's not a thing where you have to go gather paper and do something in an explicit fashion. You're doing it as part of what you do on a normal basis, daily basis.
What's awesome about that is it turns financial services into taking data, understanding consumers, and personalizing based on their needs and based on how to help bind back to the first thing we talked about with Mascoma being mission driven and B-Corp and how to help the communities you serve. That's how you do so, right? And I love this answer on the future. It's a really good note to finish up this episode. Thank you both for hopping on with us for sure.
It's been great to have you guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ted, Colton.
So today we had the great conversations around how Mascoma Bank is doing their personalization, how they're doing their modernization, their optimization, all the isations. They're really hitting it really hard, especially by building their own technology. And I'm excited to see them continue on this modernization project going forward. And one of the things that I kind of subtext heard you guys say when we were talking about AI is that it's going to go less about the actions and more about the relationships. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys attack that.
I couldn't agree more. Thanks for the time, Raphael, Samantha. Once again, turning data into insights and relationships. But the key starts on, as a community bank, how do you modernize your infrastructure? How do you do so in a reliable way that isn't going to blow up things on the banking side, right? You all have found a way to do so. I would recommend anyone to go find Raphael and Samantha and ask them about their journey. There's a lot of insights that I know both of you have taken from that journey to share with the entire bank. So thank you.
Thank you.
So if you've enjoyed the conversation, if you found this insightful and very helpful, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to our newsletter as well as the YouTube channel and our podcast so you can be alerted when the next episode drops. You'll never guess who's next. So until then, have fun exploring the world of LendTech. As we wrap up today's episode, I've got one last thing for you. If you're in the trenches fighting fraud and financial crime, you know it's a complex battlefield. That's where Hawk's AI tools for real-time payment screening, AML, transaction monitoring, and dynamic customer risk rating come into play. These aren't just buzzwords. They're game changers designed to make your compliance more effective and less of a headache. Imagine slashing through false positives with precision and giving your compliance strategy the edge it needs. Head on over to GetHawkAI.com to sign up for a demo and discover how their platform can revolutionize how you fight fraud and financial crime.
This has been a production of DD3 Media with all rights reserved. This is provided for informational purposes only. It is not offered or intended to be used as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. We strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, but will not be responsible for any missing facts or inaccurate information. You comply and understand that you should use any of this information at your own risk. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile financial assets, so research and make your own financial decisions.